Welcome, everyone. Today, I'm joined by our top experts in modern application development, Troy Allen and Kevin Donnelly. We're here to discuss the best pathways for new cloud-first application development and modernization of existing applications. Our goal is to help IT leaders understand how to future-proof their application development, how to innovate rapidly, and how to build with flexibility, scalability, and security. We've divided our conversation into 4 short sections so you can watch them all together or choose the ones of most interest to you. Part 1, understanding modern application development. Part 2, best practices for transitioning to cloud-native applications. Part 3, common pitfalls and security integration considerations. And Part 4, determining when to seek expert help.
In part 1 of our QA, we're discussing the basic drivers of the shift to modern application development best practices. Troy, can you explain what modern application development entails and how it differs from traditional application development?
Sure. Modern application development, or MAD, is about leveraging cloud-native technologies and practices to build and run scalable applications in dynamic environments. Unlike traditional development, which relies on monolithic architectures, MAD emphasizes microservices, containerization, and continuous integration, continuous deployment, or CI/CD pipelines.
Excellent. Kevin, what are the core components of cloud architecture that IT leaders need to understand?
Key components include infrastructure as a service, or IaaS, platform as a service, or PaaS, and software as a service, or SaaS. These layers provide the flexibility and scalability needed for modern apps. Additionally, understanding how to leverage cloud-native databases, storage solutions, and networking is crucial. Cloud architecture also provides tooling for a more flexible approach to your deployment pipelines, including infrastructure as code, and taking advantage of cloud-native CI/CD services.
Troy, containerization is a term we hear often these days. Can you elaborate on what it is and why it's important for MAD?
Sure. Containerization involves encapsulating an application and its dependencies into a container that can run consistently across different environments. By doing this, you ensure that the app runs the same, regardless of where it's deployed, which simplifies your testing, deployment, and scaling operations.
Kevin, low-code and no-code platforms are gaining traction. How do these fit into application development in today's world?
Low-code and no-code platforms can enable faster app development in certain scenarios by allowing your developers to create applications with minimal hand coding, often utilizing pre-built functions maintained within the framework. These platforms are particularly useful for building user interfaces, automating workflows, and integrating certain systems, which can speed up development and allow the IT teams to focus on more complex tasks.
Troy, Kubernetes is another buzzword we hear about a lot. Why is it important and what role does it play in modern application development?
Kubernetes is an open source platform for automating the deployment, scaling, and management of containerized applications. It orchestrates the containers to ensure high availability and scalability, making it a cornerstone of your modern application deployments.
Thanks, guys. In our next section, we'll be discussing some best practices for transitioning to cloud-native applications. Hi again, welcome to part 2 in the short series of discussions on modern application development. In our first section, we talked about the drivers for shifting to modern application development. In this section, we're discussing best practices for building modern apps. Kevin, what are some of the best practices for transitioning legacy applications to the cloud?
It's all about understanding what you have and how to prioritize smartly so that you're focusing on what is important to you and your business. Start with a thorough assessment of your existing applications to identify those that will benefit the most from a cloud migration. You can prioritize refactoring or re-architecting monolithic applications into microservices. When you identify which applications are your initial focus and priority, that's when you can look at using containerization and leveraging cloud native services to optimize performance or cost efficiency. Also, look at evaluating cloud native services which might provide similar or better functionality than was written into the original applications at a potentially lower level of effort and cost.
Troy, how should IT leaders approach building new applications to be cloud native from the start?
From the start, you want to think about designing with microservice architecture to enable independent development, deployment, and scaling of your application components. You also want to implement CI/CD pipelines for automating testing and deployment along the way. Use cloud-native databases and services to ensure scalability and flexibility while reducing the management overhead, since most cloud-native services are fully managed by the cloud vendor. Security should also be integrated from the beginning with practices like DevSecOps.
Kevin, can you share methodologies or frameworks that can help in this transition?
There are so many methodologies and frameworks that can and do work for modern app dev. Many methodologies can take advantage of modern application development best practices, particularly if the process is both well documented and consistently practiced across the development team or teams. From a technology perspective, cloud native services support a wide variety of languages and frameworks, which may allow for you to leverage your existing technical strengths with minimal retooling of resource knowledge.
Great. Thanks, Troy and Kevin. We'll pick the conversation back up in our next segment when we'll talk about some of the pitfalls when shifting to modern application development and considerations for integrating security into the process. Hi again, welcome back to our discussions on modern application development. In this section, we're talking about common pitfalls when undertaking modern app projects and key considerations for incorporating security into that process. Let's talk about pitfalls and how to avoid them. What are some of the common pitfalls that you've seen companies encounter when transitioning traditional applications to the cloud?
Well, one of the common pitfalls is understanding the complexity of the migration at the onset. Many companies try to lift and shift their applications without adequate planning, leading to performance issues and higher cost. It's essential that you start with an assessment and optimize applications for the cloud environments.
Another potential issue is neglecting to involve all the stakeholders early in the process. Effective cloud migration will usually require collaboration between IT, development, operations, and business teams to ensure alignment and a smooth transition. That said, it is certainly okay and recommended to perform a proof of concept migration with a small initial footprint to shake out some of those initial challenges in a less time and business sensitive environment.
Excellent. What challenges do companies face when building modern applications?
Well, one of the major challenges is managing the complexity of the microservice architecture, particularly when moving from a single large application. While microservices offer scalability and flexibility, they also introduce challenges in communication, data management, and deployment. The goal of microservices is to create them so that they can be managed and developed independently, but it does require coordination to ensure that when working in an overall solution, that each perform their function without negative impact to the other services involved.
Another challenge is maintaining consistency across development, pre-production, and production environments. Without proper automation and monitoring tools, it can be difficult to ensure that applications perform reliably in different environments.
Let's switch gears and focus on security, which is always top of mind for many companies. How can companies ensure security is integrated throughout the application development and deployment process?
Well, implementing DevSecOps practices is crucial. This means integrating security checks and tests into your CI/CD pipeline, ensuring that any vulnerabilities are identified and addressed early on in the development cycle. Security checks should be part of the approval process to ensure that when it is eventually rolled to production, it has been tested and vetted to minimize risk and potential security holes. This applies to the entire architecture. As the threat landscape is constantly changing, it is not sufficient to just look at new additions for security issues, but to continually review everything that is in place.
Also, adopting a zero trust security model will help protect against both internal and external threats. This involves verifying the identity of users, devices, and systems before granting access to resources, and also continually monitoring for suspicious activities. Another recommendation is to use temporary keys or session keys for access. That can limit exposure. Once a session is terminated, that key is no longer valid.
Great. What are some of the best practices for securing cloud native applications specifically?
Well, we would recommend start by using cloud native security tools and services that are offered by your provider. These tools are designed to integrate seamlessly with your applications and provide robust security features like encryption, identity and access management, key and certification management, and threat detection.
Protect your keys and continually review your configuration. Some of the most common and easiest to prevent cloud-based security issues were caused by either a simple misconfiguration of cloud services or by accidental leakage of security keys. Another best practice is to implement container security measures. This includes scanning container images for vulnerabilities, using secure and hardened base images, and ensuring that your containers run with least privilege.
Great. And finally, can you please discuss the role of continuous monitoring in incident response and maintaining application security?
Sure, continuous monitoring is essential for identifying and responding to security threats in real time. This involves using automated tools to monitor application performance and security metrics and setting up alerts for any anomalies detected. Artificial intelligence can also be applied to assist in providing real-time remediation recommendations for detected incidents.
Incident response plans should be in place to quickly address security breaches. This includes having a clear process for identifying, containing, and mitigating incidents, as well as regular drills to ensure the team is prepared. Response plans should be updated frequently as the applications are modified, new services deployed, or new features or functions are added. It is usually recommended that these are managed, vetted, and especially tested regularly to ensure they're up to date and that all responders understand the steps and procedures clearly.
Thank you for those insights. We hope this conversation provided some guidance on your cloud journey. Stay tuned for more expert advice from TechStream and feel free to reach out with any questions. Hi again, welcome to part 4 in our short series of discussions on modern application development. Troy, how can IT teams determine when they need to bring in experienced outside professionals for assistance?
Well, one indicator is usually the complexity of the project. If your team lacks experience with specific technologies like containerization, Kubernetes, or even cloud native architecture, it's wise to seek external expertise. This can help avoid costly mistakes and accelerate your learning curve as well.
Another sign may be when projects are consistently delayed or over budget. External experts can provide fresh perspectives, identify inefficiencies, and offer proven strategies to get that project back on track.
Great. What specific areas of modern application development might require external expertise?
Well, areas like cloud migration strategy or microservices architecture design and even CI/CD pipeline implementation often benefit from external expertise. These are specialized areas that require deep knowledge and experience to be effective with it.
Also, integrating advanced security procedures and particularly compliance measures can be complex. Experienced professionals can help ensure that your applications meet industry standards and protect against potential threats.
Assuming a company needs help, how should IT teams approach the process of finding and selecting the right external IT professionals?
Well, I'd start by clearly defining what the scope of the project is and the specific skills and expertise that are going to be required. Look for professionals or firms with proven track record in those areas and ask for their case studies or references for similar projects.
It's also important to assess their ability to collaborate effectively with your internal team. Cultural fit and communication skills are crucial for successful partnerships. You can consider starting with a smaller project to evaluate their capabilities before committing to larger engagements.
Makes sense. What are the benefits of bringing in external experts for specific phases of a project rather than relying entirely on internal resources?
External experts can provide specialized knowledge and skills that your internal team may not possess, leading to a faster and more efficient project completion. This also can bring outside perspective, which can help identify innovative solutions and best practices you may not have been aware of or thought about. In most cases, the external experts have already built or worked on similar types of applications, which can further accelerate their ability to provide immediate assistance to your project.
It's about having the right experts working on the right pieces. Partnering with experienced professionals can enable your internal team to focus on your core competencies and ongoing operations, while the external experts can handle complex or time sensitive technical aspects of the project.
Can you discuss how to ensure a smooth collaboration between internal teams and external experts?
Clear communication is key. You want to establish regular check-ins and progress updates to ensure everyone is aligned. Define the roles and responsibilities up front so that you avoid overlaps and confusion.
It's also important to create a collaborative environment where both the external experts and the internal members feel integrated into the same team. Encourage knowledge sharing and provide access to the necessary resources and information in order to facilitate their work.
Troy and Kevin, thanks for shedding light on how and when IT teams should seek external expertise. Knowing when to bring in experienced professionals can make a real difference in the success of your projects. We hope this video series on considerations when building cloud-first applications has provided some insights into how to apply best practices and avoid some of the common pitfalls when moving to and building in the cloud. Stay tuned for more expert advice from TechStream, and please get in touch with us if you have questions or need help with your app development projects.